Around Melcher, Dallas, and there's a couple of pockets of maybe some rotation here with this system. So it's one of those days where it's not a classic setup, but we do have a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere. So you can see a little pocket right here, those reds and greens coming together. So inflow, outflow, creating that rotation right there between Lacona and Williamson. And we also had another area further north. That's probably the one we're most concerned about here between Lacona and Williamson, kind of a tight area or fairly tight area of rotation there, and you can see it getting a little bit brighter there with that last scan. So this is the area to watch here as we go through the next 15 minutes or so. Not sure how long it can last. It is generally heading up toward Knoxville, and we'll put that track on that for you. It is moving. Let's see what that speed was, Chris. Have you taken a look at the speed?
Yeah, I put it at about 45 miles per hour, maybe going just a touch faster than that, but here's the estimated times of arrival into the Melcher, Dallas area by just before 4:10, getting into Knoxville should this area of rotation hold, or will be nearby in proximity around 4:23. So if you are into especially Marion County, this is where the threat is going to reside as we do see the update to the radar picture. This threat is, I'd say, just a couple of miles south of the Melcher and Dallas area. And again, moving to the north and to the east, it does not look quite as tight as the last radar picture showed, but there's kind of two areas, and I think right over Melcher, Dallas too, though that one's a little bit more broad at the moment.
And we were talking about this yesterday, that the risk of tornadoes was there. It wasn't zero, and this was an area we were going to watch southeast of the metro. Here in the metro, we are not really in any danger of any severe weather. It's going to be down here in southeast Iowa. So that warning, as we were saying, does include Knoxville, Melcher, Dallas, and again, watching this area of rotation here. Radar indicates it, of course. We want to get the warning out before a tornado comes down, and that's why we're on the air talking about this system right now. There's your reflectivity, and you can see the heavy rain coming into Melcher, Dallas as well, and that little notch in there. So if we get a southeast wind at the surface, we got more of a westerly wind aloft, and that's kind of happening right in this area. So the stronger that wind is coming in from the southeast, the more likely we can spin something up. So we're concerned about this area right now, and again, heading up, probably heading just south of Melcher, Dallas, and maybe staying south of Knoxville. We'll see how the trajectory is with this, Chris.
Yeah, this tornado warning is in effect until 4:30 as it does move into Marion County. I would say extreme northern Lucas and extreme southeastern Warren County, this threat is beyond you now as this one pulls into Marion County. So this one is moving to the north and east right now at about 40 miles per hour. So we're pretty close in our estimation on the speed of this storm. Locally, the best environment is over southern Iowa, out ahead of this line of storms. Correct, Brad?
Yeah, it does look that way because we have warmer air out here. Everything kind of developed a little sooner, maybe a couple of hours sooner, which took the metro out of the scenario here, out of the equation. So it's down here in southeast Iowa. We've got southeast wind. There's your shear detection. So that rotation there, south of Melcher, Dallas, between Melcher, Dallas, and Williamson, especially that strong area there. And it should be heading toward the Indiana area. Also, there's a small community called Columbia there, very small community.
Right along Highway 14.
Yeah, south of Knoxville. So that's an area you want to be taking shelter, safe place. Just play it safe, right? Just play it safe because these thunderstorms can produce a tornado, even though it is late October here, October 30th. And this is why a lot of the trick-or-treating is not happening tonight because of these thunderstorms that are out there, especially here in southeast Iowa. So still watching this area, Chris, it's kind of losing some definition there, but there's still some rotation.
Yeah, and kind of two areas within this warned area, warning, as you see on screen here, within the red box. Anyone within that red box, seek shelter. Lowest level, most interior room of your permanent dwelling. If you're not in so, please seek your designated storm shelter as well. Stay away from windows. Small interior room is going to be the best place to go. Back to Max we go, and you'll see that velocity signal. Two areas to watch, right over Melcher, Dallas, and one to the south. I think it's that southernmost one that has been the most potent that we've seen in the last 10 minutes.
I agree with that, Chris. And, and this is one of the situations where we have to depend on radar because there may not be very many spotters out there to actually see anything here. But again, that rotation there, the southern part of this storm, and really the southern part of that warning really is where we're probably most concerned here. It'll be crossing Highway 14 south of Knoxville, but it's pretty much along that county line there as we go through. And that is between, of course,
Marion and Lucas
Marion
County.
Lucas, yeah, I was getting confused there.
So-
Marion Lucas.
So we'll put a track on that southernmost one. I think that's the most energetic. Moving to the northeast, again, that's going to be about 40 miles per hour at last check. So we get some pretty rural areas in here, but I would say Melcher, Dallas, again, going to be your way in the next 5 minutes, perhaps just on the northern side of this cone, crossing Highway 14 as you get closer to about 410 or so. And should this one hold Knoxville, again, not listed here, but closer to about 420 as you're kind of riding the northern side of this cone.
Yeah, it looks like it'll probably stay south of there. But again, we're seeing this rotation. It is still present there, and it is south of Melcher, Dallas, moving off to the northeast or east-northeast. Gosport and Columbia areas along Highway 14. If you're in this area, take shelter as we keep this storm moving pretty quickly off to the northeast. So it really hasn't shown signs of weakening at this point. Of course, we're entering the afternoon. This is the prime time for thunderstorms, 4 o'clock or so in the afternoon.
Yeah, we've had a smattering of cells out ahead of this. That warmest air right now is over southeastern Iowa ahead of this line. It's providing it with at least some modest instability to work with, but we are seeing these storms kind of arrive, I'd say about 2-3 hours earlier than we kind of anticipated, so we didn't quite build up that energy we were expecting. So that's why storms have kind of been tempered so far, but this one is localized and kind of finding and tapping into that bit of instability there. So out ahead of this entire line, you see kind of lined up about that Highway 14 corridor. Anything along it and to the east is where we have the best setup, the best ingredients to be seeing these storms go severe. And this one cell has found it to sustain itself.
It has, and we're keeping a close eye on it with the radar. I was looking at the National Weather Service. They issued the warning, of course, and they haven't really said much since then, which is probably a good sign. We don't have any reports coming in from storm spotters or local emergency managers or anything like that. But still, that rotation does exist with this cell. That warning's until 4:30, and we'll see if it gets extended because it does have that potential. Again, we're looking at southeast winds coming in, kind of feeding this storm, and it's probably the strongest storm we've seen out there. What's interesting is the tornado threat's probably that and maybe some wind would be the two main threats. Hail doesn't seem to be a threat, and certainly flooding. We can take a lot of rain before we see flooding.
Yeah, and just an ode to how dry it's been this fall. The updrafts with these storms today have not been too impressive, and we can get a sense of that with the cloud tops here.
Looks like they're canceling it, Chris.
That's Warren County only.
Oh,
it will
okay.
stay in place for Marion and Lucas for the time being.
Okay, I just saw the bot there.
Right. Okay. So the cloud tops are running about 35, 40,000. They were more robust earlier, and when we see these numbers rise, that shows us a stronger updraft, and really over the last hour and a half, these have been generally weaker. So when we see that updraft strengthen, it generally strengthens the thunderstorm itself, and probably the most robust one we're looking at right now is this Warren cell over southern Marion County. So again, I want to reiterate, inside this warning, if you're anywhere within that red line, as you see defined from about the Knoxville area to Melcher, Dallas, over towards Indiana, the Attica area as well, please be seeking shelter.
Yeah, it is definitely. It's around Columbia now, heading toward Attica, and it's going to be that southern part of that warning that we're looking at. Let's go ahead and show the shear again, if we could, Chris, just to see if that is picking that up still. And it kind of zones in. It's a little behind right now. It has moved further to the northeast here, but it is picking that up, and it'll continue to head toward that Indiana area as well.
And it does kind of have a history, and I've pulled it up, the tracks with each scan, and it looks kind of like some rabbits running, if you will, right? Each individual scan is kind of placed a couple of miles apart from each other. So deducing from this, it's had some history of some rotation. Anytime you start to see that brighter blue popping into view, has been one of those areas where it has certainly tightened up on us. Let's go back to the velocity signal and take a look at what we have.
It looks like, just looking at what I'm looking at my radar over here, it looks like it has weakened somewhat, a little bit broader, a little bit weaker here, which is a good sign here, right around Highway 14 in the southern portion of Marion County there. So it is moving off toward Indiana area and also the Pershing area. But again, it's broad rotation right now, or broader than it was before.
I'm going to back it up a couple of scans, and you'll see the trajectory of this area of rotation is moving more easterly, probably more easterly than the track that we've been providing you in the cone. And when this happens, typically a right turn would signify that it's kind of using that updraft, if you will, because the storm itself, right, is moving more so to the north and east, but this individual area of rotations cycling more to the east. So I'm going to go ahead and track due east kind of on this, maybe just slightly north of east on it as it continues. I need to widen out the view just a little bit.
Area,
but yeah, this individual area of rotation is more so running on an easterly track more than the storm itself, which is moving northeasterly. So estimated time of arrival there in Indiana, 4:20. I don't think that's changed much, but kind of putting the threat a little bit further to the south, which would now include La Villa if it continues to hold by 4:28. And we get way on down the line, so we won't cover those just yet. But again, southern, southeastern Marion County is where I see that threat kind of translating at this current time.
We've got another cell in northeastern Wayne County. It's not severe yet, but it's a little stronger as well. But we'll keep an eye on this area in southeastern Iowa, east and southeast of the metro. But this is another cell that's kind of bowing out here. Maybe some stronger winds with that, but no warnings yet with that. But this is a better environment for severe weather, and you can see there's really not a whole lot of rotation yet, or at least it hasn't tightened up yet around just west of Cordon. You can see a little bit of that rotation there in the cell. Again, that tornado warning is until 4:30 to the north here, and we're going to continue to watch it and hope that it continues to weaken. I think it has shown a little bit of signs of weakening. I think it peaked out about 10 minutes ago or so, Chris.
Yeah, right when the warning was issued, that was the strongest signal that we saw. I will say wind is probably the biggest troublemaker that we'll see out of any storms that get going, but a spin-up tornado is what we'd be watching as well, and that's certainly why we're on with you. But taking a look at the wind gusts that are plotted here, 36 miles per hour in Sheraton as this strong storm is pushed near you, and then getting up into Knoxville, not seeing any reports, but certainly up towards Newton, 29, that's gusting, and then looking at that 34 back to the west. That'd be closer to Prairie City, I'd say, north of there as this line is moving through. But why we're on with you is that tornado warning at the moment. Lasts for another 20 minutes for southern Marion County.
And I was looking at National Weather Service talking about it. They have the same feeling we do, and maybe the same opinion about it, that it has weakened somewhat, but they're going to continue the tornado warning to be on the safe side. So we're going to continue to monitor this and just hope for the best as it passes south of Knoxville right now, and it is moving from Melcher, Dallas off toward the Indiana area or so. And it's going to continue off about 40 miles per hour. So the warning till 4:30, unless it is canceled sooner than that. But right now, we're going to stay with you on the air to keep an eye on this little storm.
Yeah, and it's broad, and I'm seeing the trend here as I'm looking at the velocity signal of kind of those inbound and outbound winds weakening a little bit. So I'll go ahead and show that to you as pull up the velocity signal here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of sample things, and we'll get a sense on just how strong those winds are in the moment. So 46 miles per hour, that's as that wind moves south inside the red. And then the green is 19 to 20 miles per hour. I'm actually going to back it up to when we issued this warning. It does look like things maybe were a little bit brighter there on the inbound, especially coming in 32 miles per hour going in, and then probably about the same 40 miles per hour going out. So it's slightly weaker, but it has broadened out as well in that same time frame.
Yeah, so you think about it like, you know, a skater that's really tight and gets spinning really fast, or put the arms out and you spin slower, and it's kind of spinning slower, so that's a good sign with this particular system. Now, as far as the metro, we don't have any more severe weather. We are expecting more thunderstorms, and maybe at some point, since this is kind of winding down a little bit, we can just take a broad view and show a loop what the metro's got coming. Of course, a lot of people wonder, what about tonight? Well, we got more thunderstorms, or at least thunder showers, and some of this rain is going to be fairly heavy at times. So moderate rain at least coming in here from the southwest. We've got more energy in the atmosphere. We're expecting more rain tonight. No severe weather expected in the metro tonight, but it is going to be this area here that's kind of untapped right now in southeast Iowa. So you folks in Oskaloosa, Ottumwa, keep your guard up here as we go into the next couple of hours for that threat for severe weather, and we'll see more rain here in Des Moines. We could see another inch of rain, in fact. There's your thunderstorm energy, and that kind of shows why we are seeing these thunderstorms in this area here. Once that front goes through, the cold front, you got the northerly winds, temperatures drop into the 50s. That kind of takes away the energy. Our watch until 7 p.m. for a few more counties here, and this may get extended eastward. We'll see if these storms can last, but usually after sunset this time of the year, it's a little harder for them.
Yeah, I think there's another little bit of broad rotation down southern Lucas County, northern Wayne County. It's not warned at the moment, and I don't think we'd see a warning until it tightens up a little bit, but it is another little area that we are going to be watching for as we continue on. And it's more of a shearing effect rather than a rotation. So we have some winds that are running to the north around Millerton area, and then the red going to the south, coming in from that same area down towards Cordon. So this is how it kind of spins up initially. We just need that updraft to send it up into the sky and start getting that spin going.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on for sure. And of course, our warning continues up here, and it is south of the Knoxville area. See that rotation right here, and that is south of Knoxville, heading off to the east, the Indiana area, the Attica area. You should be in your shelter right now just to play it safe. Again, radar indicates some rotation there that could produce a tornado.
Yeah, and I think this is on a trajectory south of Knoxville.
Yeah.
Pershing area, Indiana. I'd be watching this one very closely as it's kind of running the southern extent of this tornado warning. Still in effect for another 15 minutes here. Broad rotation and that shearing effect now east of Highway 14 in southern Marion County. So that threat continues to push eastward. No reports of anything, no confirmation of anything reaching the ground, though we're still seeing that signal there showing up on the radar picture at the moment.
Yeah, it might be hard to see, given the conditions. It might even be somewhat rain wrapped in some case there. There might be some rain around it. So difficult to see this time of year, and the spotters are probably not out, and that does not look too impressive. It looked a little better on my radar, Chris. I don't know about yours, but that's not showing up too much, but a little bit of shear there in the southern portion of Marion County.
I think on the next scan, Brad, it will go up that you saw on GR. But yeah, certainly southern portion of Marion County is where the concern is at the moment.
Heading toward Indiana again, you can see that cell there. Indiana, Attica area, and possibly toward Harvey if it does continue that track and stays stronger.
We hope this trend continues. You see the shear tracks have definitely kind of weakened a bit, but then at the same time, that southern storm, as we mentioned, kind of riding right along the Lucas-Wayne County line. It's showing a bit of rotation, that shearing in there as well. So two areas to watch. The one on the north has the warning at the moment, but I wouldn't say they're too dissimilar in their status right now at the moment.
And eventually the southern one will probably become more dominant as the evening wears on because it has better surface conditions. But up here, this cell is continuing to move off to the east here, and the distance from the radar puts it, we're shooting the radar straight out. The Earth curves, so we're looking at about 3,500 feet when we're looking at that rotation. So it's fairly high that we're looking at, so we're not sure what's happening lower. The closer you are to the radar, you get a better view of what's happening. And so we're doing our best to see what's happening inside a storm that's fairly far away.
Yeah, with this latest update, you may have saw the red box shrink a little bit. Lucas County is now officially out of the warning. It's been canceled for you. Another 14 minutes. This one will remain in effect for southern Marion County. I will say the threat is kind of moving to the eastern extent now of the warning box. So anywhere from Indiana to Pershing and then beyond, I'd even say towards Harvey and Bussey, you need to be watching this particular area of rotation. Even if you're just south and east of Knoxville there along Highway 5, that is where this area of rotation currently is. It's not the best looking, and it certainly wasn't 5 minutes ago, but when the warning was issued, that's when it looked its best. Hopefully this leads credence to nothing on the ground right now. It is officially a radar indicated tornado warning, but the threat, we're still kind of seeing that shearing effect there in the radar picture where those greens and reds are running right along the radial. That shearing effect can help spin up a tornado quickly.
Yeah, definitely south of Knoxville, heading toward that Attica area, and it will pop on. It's kind of in this area here on Highway 5. It looks like
Right
there's
there.
Attica. Yep. So small communities in this area, thankfully, but you want to seek shelter just to be safe here because it could pop down for a little while, or we don't know. We haven't seen any reports coming in from this cell, and again, there's not going to be a lot of spotters out there, and there's probably rain happening. So don't go out and try to look at this, okay? Just stay put and stay in your safe place. Of course, the lowest floor of the dwelling you're in, away from windows, and under a staircase is a good place to be.
All right, so here we'll update that track for you, moving to the east and slightly north and east at about 40 miles per hour. So those estimated times of arrival, 4:23 in Indiana. That would be about the same for Attica as well, perhaps a minute or two later. These storms are moving quickly, and now with the updates, we could probably redraw that track if we wanted and adjust things a little bit further to the east, and that will update the time. So 4:19 in Indiana, and slightly later into Attica, and then way down the line, Oskaloosa, you're in line 4:50 with this individual area that is rotating. With this latest update, those brightest greens right along Highway 5, just south of the Attica area, those red areas, this is where that shearing is happening right now in the area of concern.
Yeah, looks like, is that Highway 5?
That is Highway 5.
I can see it. Okay, Highway 5, yeah, so it's a well-known highway. That's where it's going to be passing over right now. And again, I'm not sure about this storm. I mean, again, we have limitations because of what we're looking at from a distance and the time of year. I'm not sure if the updraft is strong enough, but it's one of those where we have to be careful because something could happen. We do have a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere, and it's trying to produce a tornado, right? So hopefully it doesn't, but right now this is the most dangerous storm we have on the radar. And we're watching this one down to the south as well. It's kind of a brother of this one, and it's trying to develop some rotation there as well, Chris.
Yeah, it's still kind of shearing up, but we're looking for that pinpoint where those greens and reds turn a little bit brighter right across from each other, almost as if they're kissing, right? So they're getting closer together. That's an indication of something strengthening. So while we have those winds in opposing directions right there, nothing is saying at any one point right now that it is tightening up and forming a more concise centrifugal motion going through there. And we've seen that previously up over south of the Melcher, Dallas area between Williamson and Melcher, Dallas. It's been about 20 minutes or so ago. I'll back it up, but right there, you see how they're a little bit brighter right next to each other, kind of in that triple point between Williamson, Melcher, Dallas, and Lacona. And then it's kind of moved back into that linear line where those winds are just kind of opposing each other. Right now, the area of rotation is right near Attica, so be in your safe places, please. Pershing, moving over towards Tracy, and even Bussey as well included. Knoxville, if you're in your safe spot, I'd say, especially if you're north of Highway 92, you're fine to come out of your safe spot there. If you're southeast of town, please continue to seek shelter for this radar-indicated tornado warning.
So no news from the National Weather Service, and this is one of those cases, no news is probably good news, so nobody's seen anything. I'm sure they've got, sheriff out there looking at the sky, anyone that can be available to try to see something that could be happening, but so far we haven't had that, so that's good news. It doesn't mean we're out of the woods, though, yet. That warning goes until 4:30, another 10 minutes or so, and it's continuing to pass over Attica area, Highway 5. It'll be probably staying south of Highway 92 for a little while here, so if you live south of Highway 92 in Marion County, that is the area between Harvey and Busey.
Yeah, I think it's moving just more easterly than northeastern. The individual storm is moving northeast, but that area that's trying to spin up a tornado is moving more to the south and east with time. So Harvey, Bussey, Indiana, getting Attica and Pershing in there, that's where this area of concern is, kind of riding into the southeastern portion of this tornado warning at the moment. In effect through 4:30, that's going to go for about the next 9 minutes or so with time. Popping over to the shear, see the latest update there, and yeah, it's a little bit stronger. I think that lines up, Brad, with that last scan we saw on our radar on our laptops here.
Yeah, and I was noticing, go south with that shear on still. I think that one down south is starting to show a little bit of shear down there. Yeah, so a little bit down there. We're keeping an eye on this one. No warning with that yet, but like Chris said, they're pretty similar storm systems, and they're going into a similar environment. so we'll keep an eye on both of them as we go through the evening. Again, this is the only threat right now. I was looking, there's no hail, there's no real strong winds that we can see that are going to be causing any damage. It's the threat of a tornado spinning up, which takes rotation, which we have, and also it has to stretch and reach the ground. And usually that takes a stronger updraft to concentrate that. But we'll see what happens here. But overall, I think it's good news that we haven't had any reports, Chris.
Certainly is, and I think in the scenario today that's kind of what we're looking at. No news is good news, but you can't put 100% faith in that. That's why we're watching things on the radar picture, right? Once we get the latest data coming in here to the system we're showing you here on screen, you'll see this area of rotation pushing a little bit to the north and east of Attica, and it is slightly stronger. So I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this going forward, being the National Weather Service, as we're kind of nearing the extent of the warning box, if it'll be extended or not.
Yeah, it's going to be coming out of that warning polygon, so we'll see if they extend it right now. It's definitely worth watching, so they may have to extend it, but we'll see, because again, the environment being late October, it's harder to produce tornadoes with that, but still it has rotation. You can see it right there, just north of the Indiana area, and moving. Well, that was earlier, I guess, right? Or is that
that's current?
Right,
this is as current of a view as we have right now.
Okay, so crossing Highway 5 right now, and that'll continue to move off to mostly to the east, maybe east-northeast, but definitely your Knoxville, your sirens may be going off in Knoxville, but it doesn't look like there's anything going on in Knoxville.
Yeah, I'd say that threat is more to the south and east of Knoxville at the moment, and I've already given you the all clear in Knoxville. This threat is further to the south and east. We haven't checked the debris detection. I'm not seeing anything as well. I just want to show you that we are kind of monitoring all facets on the radar front here, but if we do look for debris, we'd be looking for kind of a tighter little blue ball showing up on the screen.
Yeah, it's showing a little interference or,
could be some small hail.
Yeah, turbulence or small hail. So things, we're kind of just waiting this out, playing a four-corner stall, really. Looking at two cells right now. One has a tornado warning and the other one does not, down to the south, but that rotation still exists here. Again, off to the west of Tracy. It's kind of heading toward the Tracy area, probably a small community there.
Yeah, so nearing County Road T17 as well, east of Pershing. And this is kind of what I was telling you about. Once we got that next radar scan, you'd see a little bit of peaking, a tightening, if you will. And that green is a little bit brighter and it's closer to those reds. So that's an inbound wind at 39 miles per hour. We look at those numbers in absolutes, that minus and plus just mean which direction it's going, right? So on the outbound velocity, we're at 26. And you do that quick math, you're looking at 65 miles per hour within a mile or two from each other. So you have winds in opposing direction, a magnitude of 65 miles per hour spinning above you. So that's what we're looking at. A tornado can drop out of that, catch that updraft just right. That spin can help propel and extend this possible tornado to the ground. This is one of the brighter or the best signals that we've seen showing up from our Doppler radar in, I'd say, the last 4 scans or so. So I still do have that bit of a concern that there is still possibility a tornado is or could drop out of the sky in these areas. It is moving beyond the tornado warning. And
so looking at the Weather Service here, they are talking about this storm. We're all in communication, and they are they may not reissue it. So at this point, they're not expected to reissue that. It's about out of that polygon, Chris. So
sure,
they're watching what we're watching. We have 2 storms with rotation. They're watching it as well. So, but at this point, they're thinking it may not warrant a tornado warning, but we'll have to keep an eye on it.
At the same time, we're watching the cell down into Lucas County as well. There is some shearing that's happening there, but we're not getting that tightening, the rotation aspect where those brighter colors are right across from each other. That gives us a good indication that it's actually spinning overhead. So we're watching this area as well. There is a report out of Millerton of a near 50 mile per hour wind gust coming in. So this is a strong storm in itself that is going to increase the wind. Likely has done the same up near Sheraton as well. This would be approaching Russell and eventually Melrose as it continues to hold. And no big wind gusts or stations in this area that are tripping our trigger at this point, but a couple of things we are watching. So 2 areas of rotation. One is tornado warned for the next 3 minutes up into Marion County.
Yeah, it looks like that'll expire. And again, watching this, as Chris was saying, that one's kind of bowing out a little bit. I expect that's going to become a dominant storm as we go into the next hour or two. And this is typically prime time. You know, we've had a little bit of warming today, especially in southeast Iowa, and the storms are doing their best to get things going. We also have some pretty good conditions in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but you can see how rain wrapped this whole system is, where this one's, you can tell, just a brighter red. It's got a bow shape to it, and it does have some rotation. So we'll probably turn our attention to this storm as we go into the next couple of hours.
And just looking what's upstream, there is more storms building in, and this line coming out of Kansas and Nebraska. And while it will build in here, it's not going to be severe, but I do want to bring this up. We're not done with the rumbles of thunder just yet, the lightning, the rain. We've already seen several locations, half of an inch to an inch of rain out of this initial wave coming through. There will be more.
So good call for all the communities, parents, everybody. Move it to tomorrow night. It'll be chilly, but it'll be dry. We've got a slug of rain coming our way as we go through the evening hours. Now, the tornado warning has been canceled, it looks like, Chris. So
yeah, it'll expire at 4:30, and it's not going to be.
They've already expired it.
Yes.
Yeah, they've already expired it. So we're going to turn back to local programming, back to where we were. We'll keep an eye on things here at Local 5. Thanks for watching.